The dawn, a vibrant, almost aggressively yellow Lego brick in the pre-sky, shattered the lingering darkness, casting a geometric dance of shadows across the storm chaser's base camp. The air, still carrying the crisp coolness of the recent night, held a subtle, earthy perfume, a blend of pine needles, damp soil, and the faint, almost metallic tang of exposed stone. A surprisingly complex sensory experience, despite Finn's fundamentally plastic composition. Finn, a knight whose armor, though constructed of rigid blocks, somehow managed to convey a sense of both strength and agility, stirred within his nest-like bed, meticulously crafted from layers of dried oak leaves, soft moss, and carefully placed tufts of cotton grass. Each movement triggered a delicate chorus of clicks, scrapes, and the soft rustling of foliage, a symphony of plastic mechanics that had become the background score to his existence in this blocky, often bewildering world. His eyes, two tiny blue discs with an almost unnerving level of printed detail that hinted at both resolute courage and an unyielding curiosity, blinked open, slowly adjusting to the fragmented light. He was greeted by the familiar scene of the base camp. The log walls, carefully notched and fitted together with impressive precision. The assortment of tools that seemed almost comical in their oversized proportions. And the low, rhythmic hum of activity as the early risers began their day. Finn pushed himself upright, his body protesting with the familiar stiffness of a well-loved toy that had seen far too many battles and far too much exploration. He stretched his limbs, the delicate clicks and clacks echoing in the stillness, the subtle resistance a reminder of the many challenges this world presented. A tiny, almost imperceptible furrow creased his painted brow as he mentally cataloged the deficiencies in his current gear. Today, Finn resolved, was not merely for survival. It was a day for significant advancement. Merely existing in this realm of towering, blocky trees and unexpectedly fierce creatures was no longer enough. He needed not just brute strength, but a level of ingenuity and adaptability that would allow him to truly thrive. He straightened his helmet, the feathered plume on top wobbling gently, as he silently vowed to not only craft better weapons, but to infuse them with a degree of artistry. He would forge a glider that could mimic the effortless flight of the indigenous avian creatures, and he would create charms that offered not just basic protection, but a tangible advantage when facing the unpredictable. He clambered out of his bed, the leaves rustling and crunching beneath his weight, a subtle, almost rhythmic sound. He made his way towards the village, the clack-clack thud of hammers against stone reverberating through the morning air, a chaotic, yet oddly comforting sound. The villagers, a fascinating assortment of minifig personalities, a gruff blacksmith with perpetually soot-stained hands and a scowl permanently etched into his face, a nimble-fingered weaver with intricate braids adorned with colorful beads, a stoic farmer, his trousers perpetually stained with rich soil, greeted him with a variety of responses, nods of respect, murmured greetings, and the occasional enthusiastic, "Good morning, Finn." His first objective was the communal crafting bench. His current sword, a flimsy contraption of roughly cut branches bound with thin twine, was not only an embarrassment, but an outright danger. He needed unyielding stone, and so he headed towards the nearby quarry, each step of his armored boots making a purposeful, rhythmic thump-thump on the gravel path, a sound that echoed across the still landscape. He swung his current pickaxe, its wooden handle worn smooth from constant use, and began chipping away at the large gray boulders, sending showers of miniature dust clouds into the air, each swing accompanied by a satisfying crunch. He was careful to avoid stepping on any loose Lego studs, acutely aware of the destabilizing effect they could have on his precise movements. He worked steadily, his plastic joints moving with practiced efficiency. Back at the crafting table, the process of refinement began. He meticulously fashioned a crude stone axe, its edges rough yet functional, and then with even greater precision, a more substantial stone pickaxe. Each strike of his tools a testament to his dedication and focused effort. The air filled with the grinding sound of stone against stone, a constant, grating melody that was punctuated by the occasional sharp crack. Finally, after an extended period of concentrated labor, his new stone sword was finished. It was a thing of brutal beauty, the sharp edges gleaming in the sunlight, the gray stone polished to a dull sheen. It was a major advancement, a weapon ready to cut through anything that dared to challenge him. His next project was the glider. His previous attempts had been closer to controlled tumbles than actual flight, and he yearned to experience true freedom of the skies. He needed silk, which meant a stealthy and dangerous foray into the deepest parts of the forest. He discovered a cluster of incredibly large spider webs, the intricate threads shimmering with moisture, each web guarded by large, unsettlingly realistic spider figures that scuttled ominously with multi-legged speed. Using his new axe, its weight feeling strangely satisfying in his hand, he carefully harvested the silken threads, the substance clinging tenaciously to his fingers, leaving a faint residue. Back at the crafting table, he combined the silk with carefully selected, incredibly flexible willow branches, his mind conjuring a design that would allow for maximum maneuverability. He worked with a methodical precision, carefully knotting and securing each piece until his glider was complete, its silken wings spreading out like those of some mythical blocky dragon, ready to catch the wind and soar. His final task was the creation of his protective charms. For this, he needed unique, almost magical materials. He ventured into a nearby cave, the entrance hidden behind a thick curtain of overgrown, thorny vine. The air within was cool and damp, carrying the pungent scent of moss and minerals, and the silence was broken only by the echoing drip of water and the distant scuttling sounds of unseen creatures. He explored the twisting passages, his boots echoing off the damp stone walls, until he found a rich deposit of crystalline formations, the light refracting and scattering into a kaleidoscope of shimmering color, a stunning demonstration of LEGO magic. He carefully harvested these delicate crystals, each one small yet brimming with energy, and used them to forge his charm. He crafted a charm of resilience, shaped like a small, intricately detailed shield, which he hoped would help him withstand physical impacts, and a charm of agility, fashioned into the form of a stylized feather, meant to enhance his mobility. As the sun began its descent, casting long, dramatic shadows across the land, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange, pink, and violet, Finn reviewed his days. His new sword, gleaming menacingly, stood ready for action. His glider waited patiently for its first flight, and his charms, their crystals shimmering, pulsed with a palpable energy. He had spent the entire day dedicated to improvement, his efforts culminating in a significant increase in his capability. The sounds of the village gradually began to fade, the cacophony of the day replaced with the quieter murmur of evening, as the villagers settled in for the night. With a quiet sense of accomplishment, he retraced his steps back to his humble bed within the storm chaser's base camp. He placed his new sword within easy reach, securely fastened his charms to his armor, and hung his glider on a sturdy wooden peg, meticulously crafted earlier in the day. He lay down on his bed of leaves, his limbs finally at rest, the weariness of the day settling into his plastic frame. His mind swirled with the anticipation of flight, the thrill of potential battles, and the promise of new creations yet to be made. The world of LEGO Fortnite remained a vast and mysterious realm, but Finn, with his resolute spirit and improved equipment, was more than ready. He closed his detailed, printed eyes, a subtle hint of a smile gracing his stoic features, and drifted into a deep sleep, ready to face the next day with even greater determination and skill. He knew that tomorrow, the opportunities for exploration, for adventure and for creation would be as limitless as the world itself.